Hey, so I just made a quick tutorial video on, well, not really a tutorial, more how I edit an image. I hope you can learn something from it. I just muck around with an image for a while and show you a few things. So if you've got any questions, let me know. Yeah, enjoy. Today I'm going to show you how I edit landscape images. As you can see, this is pretty nice. It's a 2-minute exposure from the 5D4. So first I'm going to start with a bit of exposure. It's a little underexposed. Color balance, it's pretty good. Be a little warmer. I like warm images. It's got quite a gradient across the image. So I'll drop these highlights a bit. Bring up some shadows in those mountains. Look at the histogram here. It's looking pretty good. Maybe a bit more contrast. I really like the sky color. Take those highlights down a little bit more. It's pretty good straight out of camera. More vibrance. Oh, no, I don't want that much saturation. Some of these blacks here might make them a little milky. Tone curve is your friend. It's quite dark over this side. I don't really like this bit. I might crop that in. Check that horizon. Pretty good. We can do some profile corrections down here. But I don't actually think we need to. Could change the hue of some of these oranges. A bit more red. You don't want to go too far. It'll start to look weird. Just ever so slightly. Check for any dust spots. It's pretty good. The sensor's quite clean. This is F10, so you're not going to see as many as like F22. We could add a little blue to some of these shadows. Ever so slightly. Let's see the difference. Yeah, I like that. Might clean some of this up, I'm not sure. Take those highlights down a little bit. Have to brush those out. What we could do is chuck a grad on to even the image out. Up these shadows. Big feather. I don't really like this horizon in the center, so I'm going to crop in. This is just negative space around the edge here. Gotta watch your clarity. You start getting awful halos around the edge. Something I notice in other people's images straight away. Halos. Quite like it dark and moody. Now let's take this to Photoshop for a couple of extra adjustments. You can always change the process. Calibration. But this image is pretty good. I find blue the most powerful. Probably go slightly redder. Then adjust it back with the color balance. Okay, let's take this to Photoshop. If you pause, you can see all these adjustments here, if you want to have a look. Edit in Photoshop. So firstly, what I want to do is add in some nice creamy light coming across here. Draw the eye in. So I just duplicate layers. It's a habit. It's nice to have the original if you do modify this. Right, so let's create an empty layer. A brush. Let's choose a color similar to this. You can use the picker, but easier just to choose really subtle color up here. Change this layer to hard light. Brush way down to 5%. Hardness 0. So you'll see, well, I'll chuck this on 100%. See the type of effect that gives you. So let's go back down. Tiny little brush. We can even start this out to the side here. Just gradually growing it. Now that's way too much. It's all about trial and error, seeing what works. So let's scrap this layer, start again. This time let's get a bit more color in there. Start a little more in. Always find adding this haze in here, this area for distant objects, works better. If you've got really close objects, the light doesn't look right. So now we can mask some of this out where we don't want it by selecting the black brush, X to toggle between these. Opacity 50, bit more hardness. Shrink this down a little. We'll just remove it from where we don't want it. Now we can build upon this. Just go a bit more red, more color. Some will do a soft light. So I'll show you 100%. It's the type of light it's going to add. Let's go back to 5%. Probably take that down slightly. Really boosting those colors. I feel like it needs a bit more contrast over here. Let's turn this off. Control I to invert the mask. We'll just click where we want a bit more contrast. So 20% brush. Cool, so we've got some really dark sky up in here. So what I think I want to do with this is show some stars. So let's go back to Lightroom and find a star image. I've got one here. I prepared earlier. So there's just little stars here. This will be pretty good straight out of camera, but we can do a couple of adjustments. Maybe get it closer to what we're working with already. Let's go to 100%. Check these stars out. Looking good, a really clean tracked image. Let's darken this down. Make those stars pop. Okay. Let's take this to Photoshop. Control A, Control C, Control V, and here it is. So let's just turn this opacity down so we can see it through the image. We might need to make this bigger. No, that's looking good because we cropped earlier. So I'm just looking at this region here, the dark spot, which stars I want. Okay, that's in a good spot. Create a mask. And we've turned it off. Now we can just brush in low opacity. Brush in some stars. Now we want to be really careful with this. Could even change it to pin light. Just get the strongest stars through. Couple in the water. Now we'll go for a stronger brush, change it to black and remove stars we don't want. We don't want stars in front of cloud. To blend nice and evenly. I don't think we'll bother with the water, so I'll remove these. Here we go. Might feather this just to remove more from where the light source is. The sun had set behind these mountains, and it was really dark in this region of sky. There were visible stars. I think now I'll clean up down here. So I've gone Control Alt Shift E. So that's merged all these layers into a new layer. All inclusive. Let's just let the spot healing brush take care of this. Magic. It's not 100% foolproof, but it is pretty good. Can get a bit funny around edges. Leave it at that. Okay. Yeah, I think these stars look pretty good up there. We could also open this layer in Camera Raw, apply some extra adjustments, drop those highlights slightly more, bit more contrast. Boosting the contrast really boosts the colors, so you can go the other way with this, drop the saturation a little more. Slightly more clarity, I like what it does here. I don't really want it affecting the lower part of the image. So I can just use the brush up here, reset the adjustments. 100% feather, as you can see down here. So that's far too much. Let's just boost it to about 15. Back to the original adjustments. Drop those highlights again. What we could do is make that light bleed a bit stronger in here. So reset. Drop dehaze. Add some color. Shadows, highlight. Too much color. We can change this brush down to 20. A little more. Good, I'm happy with that. Could add some vignetting. Reset your correction. Drop the exposure. Huge feather. I'll just show you the difference. Really draws the viewer's eye into the image. really good. It's the difference with the raw setting. Now to export, I use the TK panel, Web Sharpen 2048, horizontal, it's a landscape image. And that has resized it for the web and sharpened it. See the difference. So that will look very sharp when posted to Facebook or Instagram. File, save as, JPEG, sRGB, that's really important. Save, 12. Okay, I also want to show you how you can make mountains more impressive and grow them. This perspective of the 16mm lens, it's going to make them look pretty small. So what we can do is select only the top half of the image above the horizon line. Layer via copy, edit, transform, warp. Now using the middle box, just pull them up a little bit. Not like this, just a little. Now we have the problem of the reflection, so we'll do it all again. This time using the lower half of the image. Layer via copy, edit, transform, warp. Okay, so now you can see the different effect it has. Part of the image is actually quite hazy. Let's put all those layers together. Control Alt Shift E. Might just add a curve and darken that down slightly. Or we can just go straight for contrast. Brightness. Kill some of that color. We can group these to a layer. Create a mask on that group. Turn it off. And then we can brush in where we want that group. Just go really low opacity and build it up. Yeah, I like that a lot more. Some of these stars at the top here, we could emphasize them. Hard light. Brush down to about 10. Oh, I've lost my layers. Kind of go for a blue tone. Too much. Choose a couple of the brighter ones. And let's turn that down. So there we go. That was just sort of freestyling. There was no plan. Flatten this down. Let's re-export it.